I'm going to open this hearing. This is January the 9th, 2012. This hearing is a hearing on cable television franchises for Pike County, Kentucky. We're here to comply with U.S. Codes, Section 546. We appreciate the people that's come out. I read in the paper recently that a national survey showed what's on people's minds in America and the needs that they had, the quality of life that they wanted. And number one was a job. Sounds pretty reasonable. Number two was water. That is very important in people's lives. But guess what was three? Television. So you can see why you got these people sitting in this courtroom and people interested in their television. Kentucky bleeds blue, too, when ball game comes on. As you all know, they have no television. That's a problem that Kentuckians have. But the purpose of this is one of probably two hearings that will be held. I've been through this before. When I came in office the first time, we had 38 cable operators. When Linda Ain came on board for the county and our attorney, 19 years ago, we had 9. So now we've ended up with 2, Intermountain Cable and Suddenlink. So that is what we're having the hearing about today. We want to be very respectful to these two companies. We certainly want to comply with the U.S. Code, and we want to conduct this. And I know, and I might add, I've been to federal court before too. We don't want to get that far, but I've been there. And that's the reason we want to make sure that everything's inclusive in the record as we hold this hearing today. That's one of the things that they said we didn't do the first year that I held the hearing in the 70s. So we want to make sure, and I will be placing in the record what we have done to try to get the word out in this county and how important it is if the Pike County Physical Court makes a decision to give a franchise or franchises. That also that we want everybody will have an opportunity that wants to, can speak today. We have decided that we do have a portable microphone. If anybody is not able to come to the podium, we have a microphone that Brandon can bring to you, and you can have the microphone and stand where you're at or move up a little bit because we are recording this by television, so we'll have a DVD to file as part of the record. But so the first thing that we want to do is to do what I said we didn't do at the first hearing, and that is 47 U.S.C. 546, U.S. Code Section 546 renewal. And I'm going to ask Judge Hayes if he'll read into that of the federal code as a part of the record.
47 U.S.C. Section 546, U.S. Code Section 546, Renewal, Subpart A, Commencement of Proceedings, Public Notice and Participation. Subpart 1, a franchising authority may, on its own initiative during the 6-month period which begins with the 36th month before the franchise expiration, commence a proceeding which affords the public in the franchise area appropriate notice and participation for the purpose of A, identifying the future cable-related community needs and interest, and B, reviewing the performance of the cable operator under the franchise during the then current franchise term. If the cable operator submits during such 6-month period a written renewal notice requesting the commencement of such a proceeding, the franchising authority shall commence such a proceeding not later than 6 months after the date such notice is submitted. Subpart 2. The cable operator may not invoke the renewal procedures set forth in subsections B through G of this section unless A, such a proceeding is requested by the cable operator by timely submission of such notice, or B, such a proceeding is commenced by the franchising authority on its own initiative. Subpart B, submission of renewal proposals, contents, time. Subpart 1, upon completion of a proceeding under subsection A of this section, a cable operator seeking renewal of a franchise may, on its own initiative or at the request of a franchising authority, submit a proposal for renewal. 2, subject to Section 544 of this title, any such proposal shall contain such material as the franchising authority may require, including proposals for an upgrade of the cable system. Subpart 3, the franchising authority may establish a date by which such proposals shall be submitted. C, notice of proposal, renewal, preliminary assessment of renewal, administrative review, issues, notice, and opportunity for hearing, transcript, written decision. Subpart 1, upon submittal by a cable operator of a proposal to the franchising authority for the renewal of a franchise pursuant to subsection B of this section, the franchising authority shall provide prompt public notice of such proposal, and during the 4-month period which begins on the date of the submission of the cable operator's proposal pursuant to subsection B of this section, renew the franchise or issue a preliminary assessment that the franchise should not be renewed, and at the request of the operator or on its own initiative commence an administrative proceeding after providing prompt public notice of such proceeding in accordance with paragraph 2 to consider whether A, the cable operator has substantially complied with the material terms of the existing franchise and with applicable law. B, the quality of the operator's service, including signal quality, response to consumer complaints, and billing practices, but without regard to the mix or quality of cable services or other services provided over the system, has been reasonable in light of community needs. C, the operator has the financial, legal, and technical ability to provide the services, facilities, and equipment as set forth in the operator's proposal. And D, the operator's proposal is reasonable to meet the future cable-related community needs and interests, taking into account the cost of meeting such needs and interests. 2, in any proceeding under paragraph 1, the cable operator shall be afforded adequate notice, and the cable operator and the franchise authority or its designee shall be afforded fair opportunity for full participation, including the right to introduce evidence, including evidence related to issues raised in the proceeding under subsection A of this section, to require the production of evidence and to question witnesses. A transcript shall be made of any such proceeding. 3, at the completion of a proceeding under this subsection, the franchising authority shall issue a written decision granting or denying the proposal for renewal based upon the record of such proceeding, and transmit a copy of such decision to the cable operator. Such decision shall state the reasons therefor. D, basis for denial. Any denial of a proposal for renewal that has been submitted in compliance with subsection B of this section shall be based on one or more adverse findings made with respect to the factors described in subparagraphs A through D of subsection C(1) of this section, pursuant to the record of the proceeding under subsection C of this section. A franchising authority may not base a denial of renewal on a failure to substantially comply with the material terms of the franchise under subsection C(1)(a) of this section, or on events considered under subsection C(1)(b) of this section, in any case in which a violation of the franchise or the events considered under subsection C1B of this section occur after the effective date of this subchapter unless the franchising authority has provided the operator with notice and the opportunity to cure, or in any case which it is documented that the franchising authority has waived its right to object, or the cable operator gives written notice of a failure or inability to cure, and the franchising authority fails to object within a reasonable time after receipt of such notice. E, judicial review. Grounds for relief. 1. Any cable operator whose proposal for renewal has been denied by a final decision of a franchising authority made pursuant to this section, or has been adversely affected by failure of the franchising authority to act in accordance with the procedural requirements of this section, may appeal such final decision or failure pursuant to the provisions of Section 555 of this title. 2. The court shall grant appropriate relief if the court finds that A, any action of the franchising authority other than harmless error is not in compliance with the procedural requirements of this section, or B, in the event of a final decision of the franchising authority denying the renewal proposal, the operator has demonstrated that the adverse finding of the franchising authority with respect to each of the factors described in subparagraphs A through D of subsection C1 of this section on which the denial is based is not supported by a preponderance of the evidence based on the record of the proceeding conducted under subsection C of this section. If, finality of administrative decision. Any decision of a franchising authority on a proposal for renewal shall not be considered final unless all administrative review by the state has occurred or the opportunity therefore has lapsed. G, franchise expiration. Defined for purposes of this section, the term franchise expiration means the date of the expiration of the term of the franchise as provided under the franchise as it was in effect on October 30, 1984. H, alternative renewal procedures, notwithstanding the provisions of subsection A through G of this section, a cable operator may submit a proposal for the renewal of a franchise pursuant to this subsection at any time, and a franchising authority may, after affording the public adequate notice and opportunity for comment, grant or deny such proposal at any time, including after proceedings pursuant to this section have commenced. The provisions of subsection A through G of this section shall not apply to a decision to grant or deny a proposal under this subsection. The denial of a renewal pursuant to this subsection shall not affect action on a renewal proposal that is submitted in accordance with subsection A through G of this section. I, effective renewal procedures upon action to revoke franchise for cause, notwithstanding the provisions of subsection A through H of this section. Any lawful action to revoke a cable operator's franchise for cause shall not be negated by the subsequent initiation of renewal proceedings by the cable operator under this section.
We have received a request, and that's the purpose of this first hearing today, to comply with Section 546 renewal of the USC Code. I want to introduce the people up here today. I'm Wayne Rutherford, the Chief Executive of Pike County, Kentucky. We are blessed to be America's energy capital. We're the #1 producer of coal. We produce 53% of the natural gas in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. So we are blessed to be an energy-rich county. We have 65,024 population at the present time. We of course have 1,200 miles of roads in this county, and anything that this county government and this physical court does, it's a tremendous job, because we pick up garbage from 33,000 homes. We, of course, have all of these bridges and roads to maintain, but we are a blessed people here in eastern Kentucky. We want to introduce, and I'm going to start with the ladies. We have Linda Ain, which is to my right, to your left. She is our attorney. She's been attorney for Pike County Fiscal Court for 19 years. Next is our very efficient clerk, Rose Farley, who will record these proceedings. Next is Franklin Stacy. Franklin is a CPA and purchasing agent for the county. He's the fellow that gets the calls first from the citizens out there when they can't deal with a cable operator, and he handles that for the Pike County Fiscal Court. Next to him is Magistrate Leo Murphy, and Leo, of course, represents a district out in this county. He gets some complaints like the county judge does and the other officials get. And next to him is Kenneth Robinson, the magistrate out in Pike County, and he too gets complaints and has it to my left, and be to your right is Roland Case, assistant county attorney. And then you have John Doug Hayes, the assistant judge. And you have next Vernon Chick Johnson. Then you have Brandon Roberts, one of my administrative assistants. I want to commend my staff and Jeannie Robinson, who has a doctorate appointment today, who's worked on this hearing for the last 2 or 3 weeks, trying to get ready for the hearing and to make sure that we properly and got everything that we needed to do into this first part and to comply with this section of the U.S. Code. So I want to thank all of my staff that had. I want to thank Donovan Blackburn from the city, who we have consulted with, who went through this process, and we certainly appreciate Donovan Blackburn for what advice that he gave us and making us understand how the process works a little better. We know that we have some wants and desires, and we know that these cable operators have some wants and desires. And we, as the fiscal court and the staff and our attorneys, is not going to be backward as we negotiate for the people of this county. As I meant to begin with, television is a quality of life. We deserve no less than anybody in this country. Anybody in America, we deserve no less with the technology we have today. I was here when we got the first franchise. I have a copy of it here. It even goes back, and the first sentence says, the citizens of Pike County be well served with an orderly and efficient system of community antenna television. Boy, times have changed, how the technology has changed. So this is something that we take very seriously as a governing body of the Pike County, because what we do in this contract will probably be 10 years before we'll visit it again. And that's the reason that my staff works so hard. And I want to file with the clerk a copy of the legal publication that was put in the Appalachian News and Express for the December the 24th and December the 25th, 2011. We also will have a news story that was published in the Appalachian News Express in the January the 7th and 8th edition. We also have in it from Pike TV, from Al Greenfield, and they are here today, and Al is here, of where they run 120-second announcements in regard to this hearing. All of our senior citizen center, all 8 of them throughout Pike County, was given notice that, and the directors, that this hearing would be held today. 220 announcement flyers were distributed throughout Pike County by my staff, and the display cases in the courthouse and all the offices in the courthouse and the Hall of Justice. Television public announcement channels was used, and we have that to file as a part of the record. Chamber of Commerce website, 1,000 email list was used, and that will be, Madam Clerk, I have all of this that I want to give to you and file as a part of the record of this hearing. I think the next thing we need to do, we need to have the people at the table who holds the franchise that we're holding the hearing about. We want you to give your name. I think your microphone's on. Are they on, Brandon? Your microphones, he said he'd turn them on before the hearing started, so if they're on, give your name and who you represent. Start over here with Suddenlink to my left.
Heather Gerhardt, General Counsel, Intermountain Cable.
My name is Jeff Thacker. I'm the head end supervisor with Intermountain Cable.
Roy Harlow, I'm the outside plant superintendent, Intermountain Cable.
I'm James Campbell. I'm the chief financial officer for Intermountain Cable.
Jerry Vance with Suddenlink Communications, lead technician.
Michael Kellerman, Director of Government Relations with Suddenlink Communications.
Okay. I think next that we're going to open it up for the public to come around and to the podium. And Brandon, do you have a list that you're going to call them up, or how do you have your list ready? Pardon?
There's no specific list for whoever wants to speak.
Okay, somebody, the first one that wants to speak, needs to come up to the podium, and then those who signed in to speak come up to the podium. So that, let me add this, there will be a period after this initial opening where you will have a chance in writing to submit. But those who are here to speak today, come around and tell your story. If you have a complaint, tell what company that serves you first when you go up there, and give your name and your address. Of course, we have it on the sign-in sheet. If you haven't signed in, even if you're not going to testify, please sign the sign-in sheet over here before you leave, so that we will have a full record of this hearing. If we will certainly need it if we end up in federal court, and there's a possibility that that could happen. We don't want it to happen. We're going to work with these companies to try to make sure that don't happen, but we will be negotiating with these companies. So, ever who wants to break the ice and come first, come on up. Brandon, would you get the list and see who come right on around.
My name is Jeffrey Randall Cantrell. I'm from Mouthcard, Kentucky, and I'm here on behalf of Suddenlink. There's about 4 families live up a holler where I do. We've been about 15 years trying to get TV cable up there, and they just keep putting us off, won't put it up there. Last time I spoke with them, they said they'd come measure it to see what it would cost to put it in there. After they'd done that, they told me I'd have to pay $2,500, buy the cable, pay a hookup charge, pay the monthly bill, and give them my cable back. And that's not right. If you hold a franchise in the community, I think if you serve one, you should serve the whole community. Up at the house where I live at, we used to have cable, but we had that, like Judge Rufus was talking about, we had a lot of companies back in. And we had to run our own TV line down there to get it hooked up. Then whenever they come in with this big costly line, they unhooked it, but said they was going to hook us back up as soon as they got time to put it in. That wasn't Suddenlink, though. That was another company. But I remember whenever we had a lot of TV companies, you could get TV without a cable. We got used to get 3 channels up there where I lived at. But they've come in with all this updated stuff, got everything blocked. Now they're wanting to charge you to buy the company so you can watch it. That ain't right. The power company, you doze you off the house seat, you get your septic system put in, call the power company, they'll come hook your power up. Call the phone company, they'll come hook your phone up. Get a 911 address and they'll send a garbage truck. But to get a TV cable, they don't want to do that. And there's 4 families has been without cable. And we live in Pike County. We like to watch the local news. We like to know what's going on. But no, they want to keep us shut out, and that's not right. I'd like to know why. Are we any different? I live at 1069 Little Card Road, Mouthcard, Kentucky, 41548.
Mr. Cantrell, thank you, and that becomes part of this record as we consider this, and we appreciate it. I recalled when one of his neighbors called me. They said and this is no reflection on red hair, I like red hair, but said they thought they'd been treated like a red-headed stepchild, and I'd heard my grandpa say that many, many times. And I hadn't heard it in a while till they told me that they felt they'd been treated that way. So I can understand your feelings and appreciate you coming. What you have stated will be part of this record and will be taken up as we take a look at this franchise and to see if they've complied. And thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you, Judge.
What I want to do next is I want to make sure everybody understands what the physical court has to determine this from under this code, renewal of this code. And it's whether each company substantially complied with the material terms of the franchise and the law, whether the quality of each company's service, including signal quality, responds to consumer complaints and billing practices. And I'll speak to that later in regard to consumer complaints. But without regard to the mix of quality of cable television services and other services provided over the system has been reasonable in the light of community need. Whether each company has the financial and legal and technical ability to provide services, facilities, and equipment in their proposal. Whether each company's proposal is reasonable to meet the future cable-related community needs and interests, taking into account the cost of meeting such needs and interests. That's the purpose today of this hearing, and that's what we want to build this record on. Mr. Benny Bartley, come around.
Appreciate the opportunity to speak. My name is Benny Bartley. I'm a resident of Pikeville, and I received my TV service from Suddenlink. And about 2 years ago, I attended a meeting similar to this at the Pikeville City Commission, and representatives were there from Suddenlink. My comments at that time mainly concerned the very poor reception on our TV cable. And Suddenlink assured us that the new cable was being installed and that things would improve. I also told them I wish Suddenlink would add some additional offerings on their cable lineup, for example, the Food Network. A representative of Suddenlink was here from Pennsylvania, and he said that we could be assured that, and would be pleased to know that the Food Network would be added on along with some other offerings very soon, within a few weeks. And I feel like, thinking back 2 years ago up to now, I would say there's some good news and bad news. First of all, I would want to compliment Suddenlink on the vast improvement on the signal quality, at least in my area at my house, because it's much better than it was. I don't have any complaints on signal. But I do have an area that concerns me. I have some dissatisfaction I want to express, and that has to do with our channel lineup for Pike County and Pikeville for basic service and expanded service. I just have a feeling we're getting a bit shortchanged when you compare us to other areas. Judge Rutherford mentioned we want similar service to other parts all over the country. Well, I'll just refer to one just down the road, and that is to Prestonsburg. I kept having friends down in the Prestonsburg area talking about their TV signal, their lineup on their expanded basic. And I said, you seem to be talking about a lot of things that we don't have. And so I got our listing out, and we looked at their listing and found that on the basic, just the basic, it looked like they got 22 channels, and I believe ours was 15. And then when you went on to expanded basic, where we get 36 channels, they got 56, or about the same rate of charge each month. So all totaled, it looks like we had about 51 channels offered to us for basic and expanded basic. 51. They had 78. That's 27 channels offered that we don't have. So, I looked it up, and some of the things that they get that we don't have on our lineup, on the basic expanded, MyZ TV out of Huntington. Now, we get public PBS, KET, but they get that too. In addition, they get another PBS station out of West Virginia. And then they get C-SPAN. Well, we get C-SPAN, but they also get C-SPAN 2. They get a golf channel, a speed channel, an outdoor channel, True TV. They get MTV, MTV2. We get MTV, but we don't get MTV2. Lifetime Movie Network on their basic expanded. Oxygen, SoapNet, Disney XD, the Food Network, and the one that I grieved over, they get Turner Classic Movies, National Geographic, Hallmark Channel, and the TV Guide Channel. Now, those were all on their listing, but not on ours. It seemed like if it had been a channel or two, I'd have thought, well, you know, that things can be different, so they get a channel or two more than us. That's all right. But when it got to looking at 27 channels, that seemed kind of excessive to me. I really felt we were getting shortchanged. We can get some of these stations. We can get them, but we have to add on more and more tiers of channels. You have to add on a movie tier and another tier, which can really add up to quite a bit more expense. When they don't have to do that, it's all on that basic expanded. And in some instances, I've asked about the Food Network. I'm told by their customer service representatives more than once. They've said, as far as Food Network, that's just not available in Pikeville. And I said, I don't understand that. And they said, well, that's just the way it is with Suddenlink and Pike County. So for some reason, I don't know if it's our location, because see, really Suddenlink in this area seems to be headquartered in West Virginia and all kind of filters down into little bits of Kentucky. And we're at the end of the line, it appears. And we get kind of neglected, I think. I think a good example of that, Suddenlink sent out a postcard or thing like this back in October. And if you look up in the corner, it's got Pikeville, West Virginia. That's what they thought we were in West Virginia, I guess. That's how they put it out. Just little things like that make you think they kind of neglect us. So is that the reason we don't get as much offering as other places? I don't know. But anyway, I'd like to see, with all apologies to the city of Pikeville and the Pike County Fiscal Court, I believe you need to be a little tougher on your oversight with them to make them at least give us something equal to what they get in other areas. And I mentioned Prestonsburg because I had that information, but I think it's true in a lot of other places too, over in West Virginia and on down the line. Anyway, I'm going to conclude by saying that I did appear 2 years ago. We told them about our quality of reception and how poor it was. And sure enough, they corrected that as far as I could tell, and I compliment them for that. Now here we are 2 years later, and I'm mentioning this lineup, and I hope that Suddenlink and the fiscal court and all, they can work it out to improve our quality of lineup to match those in other areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bartley. The other night, I was watching a Kentucky ball game, Pat and I was, and I've been having some eye problems. And I told Pat, I said, Pat, my eyes getting worse, because I said, that picture is as dim as could be. Look at that Kentucky blue. She said, Wayne, that's not your eyes, that's our reception. So that's at my house. I don't know about Mr. Bartley's house, but that's at my house in Pikeville here. You know, but the next come around, ever who's next to, and Pat and I have traveled. We've had to conduct county business in the last year or so. And as we travel around to the different cities in this country, and we turn their television on, folks, there's not no comparison. There's not no comparison on what they do. When we look and pick up the channel things as Mr. Bartley had in his hand, there's no comparison of what they do in the other section. So we, as a governmental body, certainly have the work cut out for us as we take a look to see if they complied, and we work towards a new franchise agreement. Ever who's next, come on around, please. Don't be bashful. It'll be 10 years, and I've tried to emphasize that. It'll be 10 years, and what kind of television service you get and we get in this county is based upon beginning with this hearing today and another hearing that we will have. So if you have a story to tell, come on around and tell your story. I know as I travel around this county, and I do get complaints. I get them at Walmart. I get them at Food City. I get them at Senior Citizen Center, and I do get complaints. So if you're here, come on around and make sure that you get involved. If you can't, if you're physically you can't get up here, Brandon has a mic for you that you can speak over the mic.
Judge, while she's approaching the microphone, I would say that this is not the first time that Suddenlink's heard the complaint about no Food Network. I've made that complaint to the representatives of Suddenlink on at least 4 or 5 previous occasions, so I would like to second the comments of Mr. Bartley about the Food Network. That complaint has been voiced on several occasions to Suddenlink, and in fact, I have implored Intermountain and through Mr. P.D. Gearhart that I would be the first one to sign up if they had the nerve to come in over the top of Suddenlink, that I would switch from Suddenlink to Intermountain in a heartbeat in order to get the Food Network, but they have declined to compete.
Thank you, Mr. County Attorney. Pauline, come on around. Thank you.
Well, I'm Pauline Childers, and I'm from Marbone, and I just want to complain about why they raised the bill and didn't give us no extra channels. The only channels I got is about 25 music channels, and I'm just lucky enough to have one TV that I can get it on, because most of my TVs are old. And with that box, you can't get none of the music channels, which I can care less, but if they put in channels on there, it's always sports channels or music channels. I don't like them. I'm like Benny. I think he told what we should have is the food channels and the Hallmark channels and all that, because they raised my bill about almost $5, $4 and something other this month, and I don't know what they expect out of us, because they're not giving us no more channels other than the music channels. And who can listen to 25 music channels at one time? So.
Thank you so much,
and
Mrs. Childers.
They're scrambled. The channels are scrambled a lot of times. Because one day I was listening to one of the preachers, and I believe he got a little bit too hot on preaching, and they pulled the plug on him, but the rest of the channels was all right. So they just keep on scrambling. Whenever you're watching a movie and then they're scrambling, what do? You flip off the TV. So if they're going to raise my bill, I want some more
Who
channels.
is your
or at least-
provider?
The what?
Suddenlink, your provider?
Suddenlink is my provider.
Okay.
And I think they try to improve it, but they're getting worse instead of better. I mean, I got a good signal when I got the TV on if it's not scrambled. But most time it's scrambled. Or you can't hear it. You can hear most of the channels, then you flip it to another channel, and then you have to read their lips. And I'm not a rip leader.
Thank you, Ms. Childers. Magistrate Murphy.
Yes, I understand what Mr. Childers saying, and that's the biggest complaints I'm getting since Suddenlink give out all these boxes to put on the old TVs and things. And most of the people in my family and where I live, those boxes don't help get all the channels. It just brings in all them music channels, and nobody's getting the full amount of channels that they had with the boxes. And I think Suddenlink should send people around to their houses to help them get that adjusted, you know, and everything. But that's the biggest complaint I'm getting.
Madam Clerk, I want to file a letter that I wrote to Mr. Kilman in November 21st, 2011. And that's when, complying with the franchise, they notified me they was raising everybody's bill. I wrote him a letter and said, I'm amazed at the fact the only time I hear from Suddenlink when there is an increase in Pike County's cable bills. Suddenlink at this time holds a franchise in Pike County, Kentucky area and not the Kermit, West Virginia area. The same as Mr. Bartley said, they even put it on the top of the printout they sent out to everybody that we was in West Virginia. However, they provide Pike County Tubman with subpar service. It's like solving a riddle just to get in touch with someone to register a complaint or discuss a problem. And I'll bring that up at this time in regard to Suddenlink. We called your 800 number you had this morning again. And sure enough, guess who answered? In Texas. Now we called back. I told Brandon I went back in the office and I called again, and I was going to see if I got Indiana, because that's the two places you advertise. I want to fall into the record, and I'll do that at this time. The new telephone book, where you don't list a local place you can call at all. You don't have it in this book. No, you don't. You don't have it in here in this new book. So I want to follow this as a matter of the record to show that we can't get a hold of nobody. My wife will put in the record in writing the problem that we've had and the outages that we've had, and we will get you a letter this coming week. Under this franchise, you are to furnish us a list of every complaint that you've received for a period of time, and we will be asking for that under this franchise, because I don't get all the complaints, the magistrates don't, Frankie don't, and I'm usually the last one when somebody else can't get a hold of somebody that they get a hold of. So I'm going to follow that as part of the record, that telephone book. Now I'm going to take that, just come out. I'm going to do the same thing in the old telephone book that we've operated under this franchise under, and they're not in this. This is ridiculous that you don't have anybody. You got an office here in the city limit, and yes, they won't take a complaint. They'll tell you right quick. And if you want to, we can't. And I noticed when Judge Hayes read that a section under it on billing, heck, it's a trip and time consuming to even stay on the telephone and even question anything with Suddenlink. So I'm going to follow this telephone book also as a part of the record. And Madam Clerk, I want to follow this letter, and we did also, I wrote a letter that will become part of the record to the city of Pikeville, setting out the complaints, and I'm not going to read it, but I filed a letter with the city, and they filed a complaint through Linda Ain with Suddenlink at their offices somewhere in West Virginia, and we got an email back, and I'm gonna file that too. And it kindly upset me when I got the email back. And I told you that we had outages That's what we had. We didn't have any television. Nothing. We didn't have any computer. Nothing. The first sentence that Mr. Kelman wrote back to me to the city in regard to our complaint, from reviewing the Rutherford account, it is clear that they experienced issues that could have been avoided. Now, how could we have avoided not to have a signal? So, I mean, that kind of answer is, and Madam Clerk, I want to make these a copy of this record. So we need to go on with this hearing, and we need people that came here for the purpose of filing a complaint or the lack of service or a compliment to one of these people that provide your service. Come on around, because I said it will have another 10 years. And if we don't, if this court, we need guidance from the people in this county who wants to see and have good television in this county in the future. So if you're here for that purpose, I'd ask that you come around to the microphone, or if you need one, we will have Mr. Roberts to bring you a mobile mic. Are there anybody that wants to come around and file a complaint? How many people in the audience will file a written complaint and make it a part of this record? Hold your hands up, please. So you can see that the people are interested in regard to the service that they get, and we want you to do that. You can bring that to my office or mail it to my office at 146 Main Street, Pikeville, or deliver it to my office and or take it to Franklin Stacy at his office. Or you can give it to one of your magistrates to bring in so that we can make it a part of this record. We have the numbers. And I want to say this on behalf of the Intermountain Cable. Everybody, there's no system in America that's perfect, but we have received very few complaints in regard to that. And I base that on the fact of these companies that this company bought up, they completely rebuilt every one of those systems that they bought. But we haven't received very few complaints. We've received some. You all have a local office. You complied with the franchise. You have an office within 15 miles and so forth under the franchise that you have. The complaints that we continue to receive has been received in regard to the service Suddenlink. And we have Al Greenfield, who's here. Al Greenfield. We was blessed when Pike County, the city of Pikeville, and Pikeville College, that we got together and decided to put in a public television station. We put a nationwide search in regard to hiring somebody, and we was blessed to get Al Greenfield. Al Greenfield's background, he's from Lexington, Kentucky, is where his home is. He loves the bluegrass. His wife loves the bluegrass. Crook and Chase show, which all of you all have watched. He was the producer, director of that show in Nashville. Lived at Brentwood during those years, and still, his wife wanted to live in Lexington, Kentucky, and so he went down, stayed during the week, came back home to Lexington, and they decided that they would move that show to the West Coast. His wife didn't want to leave the bluegrass state and decided to stay, Linda, in Lexington. So he went and come back and put in a company in Lexington and done a lot of work for public television and National Geographic and others. And we was blessed to get Al Greenfield here. We have Channel 99. It's up and running. It is a governmental channel, the city of Pikeville, the Pike County government, and Pikeville College, and it is for the purpose of making government transparent and let the people know what's going on in their government. So Al, we know that we will be negotiating with these folks in regard to many different issues that we have. Some will be on the needs of Pike TV, and we will be championing your cause. Go right ahead.
Well, thank you very much, Judge. I really appreciate it. I want to say, first of all, I appreciate the appearance by both parties here this afternoon, and I've had great relations with both Intermountain and with Suddenlink, and appreciate your help. I just wanted to spend a few moments talking about Pike TV, get this on the record, exactly who we are, where we've been, and where we're planning on going. Pike TV is a governmental and educational channel on both Suddenlink and Intermountain cable systems. The channel is a direct result of long negotiations between the cable systems and the Pike County Fiscal Court and the City of Pikeville. Pike TV is shown on Channel 99 on both cable systems. And although some limited funds were directed to our project as dictated by the existing franchise agreement, the channel is directly funded by a group of public and private stakeholders who comprise the governing board of directors. This year, Pike TV has incorporated, and we've attained a status as a nonprofit organization. Pike TV is directed and funded by the Pike County Fiscal Court, the City of Pikeville, the University of Pikeville, the Pikeville Medical Center, the Pikeville Independent School Systems, and the Pikeville Main Street Corporation. Each has at least one seat on our board of directors. Our board is chaired by Governor Paul Patton, the president of the university. The programming on Pike TV reflects the stakeholders who comprise our board, and our mission is to provide transparency in government by broadcasting public meetings and producing topical and informational shows that address current issues facing both the city and county governmental bodies. The channel also produces programming that showcases activities in the area. We try to promote tourism and highlight events that we think are in the public interest. The channel at this point is staffed by 2 people. I'm responsible for the overall management of the channel and performing some hands-on production duties. We employ one other, Eric Perrin, who's sitting in the back of the room, our other full-timer who's in charge of daily operations and production. As our list of locally produced programming expands and we entertain requests for more programming, we find ourselves having to judiciously choose what to cover and when because of our staffing limitations. So as we discussed the short-term needs of Pike TV Channel 99, staffing is at the top of our list. As our programming and production schedule grows, the channel will need to upgrade its equipment, add to and maintain its current equipment. As representatives from both cable systems know, the cost is significant, and we must depend on outside sources of income for some necessary expenses, not just our generous stakeholders. As a 501c3, Pike TV can accept underwriting, not advertising, but underwriting dollars with the same model as a public television station. As we increase in staffing and maintaining our facility, we must also be thinking about some longer-term goals we'd like to reach over the next 5 to 10 years in the term of the next agreements with the cable companies. For example, we'd like to fully equip this courtroom with robotic cameras and lights so that we can fully cover on the spur of the moment meetings and fiscal court meetings. We'd like to do the same thing with our city commission chambers. We'd like to purchase a mobile unit or van so we can transport our equipment. Right now we're throwing equipment into cars, but we'd also like to have that flexibility where we'll be able to do remote broadcasts from all over the county. One of the most important goals, I think, though, is to fully create a functional fiber network in Pikeville and Pike County so we can quickly set up and go live from almost anywhere. Fiber already reaches most places we would want to broadcast from. Fiber comes into this building, for example, the City Hall, the university, the hospital, the exposition center, and the school board, but that fiber is black fiber. It's not lit up. We need to connect that and tie it all together. This, I think, would provide valuable programming for us, but I think it would provide the customers of the county a very valuable service. As I talk to current cable subscribers, ones who call me, ones who are watching Pike TV, I hear a couple of common complaints. Besides lack of channels that everyone has their own favorite flavor of the month. Mine is MSNBC, by the way. I'd love to see that. One is our channel position. Any repositioning would be appreciated. The other is addressed by a couple of our speakers here. Confusion created by the addition of the digital boxes. Many customers are confused as to why the box is needed, how it works, where their favorite channels are, and in some cases where Pike TV went after they went digital. Customer education is a must, and I believe we should implore your employees to take the time to explain how things work and why they work differently, and provide some more information, customer-friendly information, to provide some further help. As the county enters into these negotiations and considers the needs over the term of the contract, I would hope that the cable companies will keep Pike TV in mind. It's an entity that they help create, and one that's become and will continue to be a valuable public asset, and your support through any contributions would be appreciated. Thanks so much, Judge.
Thank you. Pike TV is operated by a board, which President of the University of Pikeville, Paul Patton, is chairman, Donovan Blackman, city manager, is vice chairman, and I am the treasurer. And we have other board members, and we meet monthly. But it has been a great asset. The college has, I think they had 13 students, hope to go up to 35. They'll be offering a degree in communications, and which will be an asset to our television station and in the area. We have been supported by Wayne Martin, the president of Gray Television, which operates Huntington, Lexington, and Hazard. Has supported our Pike TV as we work to get it off the ground. We are off the ground. We just have some needs that needs to be filled. We've had, looked like approximately 60 people sign in for the hearing today. We appreciate that. Again, if you want to, if anybody else, I don't want for you to lose the opportunity, if you want to come around and to the podium again. But if you want to come around, please come around the microphone. Suddenlink and Intermountain will be given an opportunity to make a presentation, and that'll be at the later hearing. And they can make a statement or anything they desire to do now, presently. Am I right, Ms. Zane? Okay. Anything that either one of you want, and we will start in a minute with Intermountain, and then we'll go to Suddenlink. But you'll give an opportunity to state anything you want to state today, and then we know that this is the first step, complying with this federal code. Section 546 renewal, as Judge Hayes read into the record. So, Intermountain, if you all have anything, go right ahead.
I'm James Campbell, the Chief Financial Officer of Intermountain Cable. Have some written testimony that I'll just enter into the record. There's no use of me reading all this, but of course we're very interested in serving or continue to serve the citizens of Pike County, and we look forward to working with the county in these negotiations.
Okay, Madam Clerk, would you make that a part of the record, please? Just in a minute, deliver that to the clerk, please.
Michael Kellerman.
Kellerman, go right ahead.
We certainly look forward, as well as Intermountain does, in working with the county to come to a new agreement. The existing agreement expires June 7th, 2014, and so we do have the time to work through any issues that could come up, and certainly what I've heard today basically was more channels, better service, more customer education on the digital upgrade that we just completed, and then also on Pike TV. So we'll take all of those as comebacks to the county.
Okay, the next step that we have, next step we have is that it will be open for people. How many days do we want to leave it open for people to?
It will remain open until the county determines that it's closed. This proceeding remains open. That this is not this is not closing today, and we can take as long as we need to keep this open in order to gather information.
Any written statements, as the attorney said, can be accepted until the county notifies that it is closed. And these proceedings, as the attorney said, will remain open, and we will be meeting with both Intermountain and Suddenlink, and as we start to negotiate, we certainly, as we look to the next 10 years and the way technology has changed, we certainly want to protect the interest of our people who watches television and who have most important. I'll repeat one more time, the written statements can be to my office, 146 Main Street, Pikeville, or given to a magistrate to bring in, or delivered to Mr. Stacy's office, who handles the franchises for the Pike County government. So if I want to give the magistrates or anybody up here to make any statements that you might want to make, and then we'll close the hearing. Are there any statements that anybody wants to make?
I would like to say one thing. About the DTA boxes, you were talking about the little digitals. We do have people in the area right now that are helping people with those. We've actually called people in because we knew it was going to be a big process. You know, we have put quite a few of them in. If anybody has any problems with those at all, you know, we're helping in any way that we can. You know, we've rewired a lot of homes and stuff like that, and that's where a lot of the problems we've been seeing with these little DTA boxes is just the wiring in the homes. So when we go out and install them, they work really, you know, really good.
Yeah, that's what I say. Some of them just need to be educated on it
Right,
and stuff like
exactly. I agree.
Let me tell you about the little boxes. My wife, Pat, followed the recommendations. She ordered the boxes. She ordered them. Never did get them. So it got up time, and I'd asked her one day, I said, time's going to be up. You won't have no television. Bless her heart, she goes up, stands in line, because it's the end of the time, and gets the boxes. Well, they gave her 2. Well, then, about 2 days later, we found another one out on the porch. Somebody had brought one and laid it out on the porch. And of course, she will relate that when she files her letter as part of this hearing of the problems that this family has experienced dealing with this company. And I know that from what I've been told around the county that people's really had problems. So we got a lot of talking to do, a lot of thinking to do. We want to be very respectful. You have somebody in the audience who wants to make a statement. Go right ahead.
Yeah, my name is Don Atkins.
Brandon, that's not on. Would you help him, please?
I live at Rocky Road. Just about everybody in Pike County knows me. But I have a lot of rental property. I rent out 52 places. Apartments, trailers, houses, businesses. And I've been to the office here in Pikeville. One of the ladies that works there rented off me for years. And I've called Texas, I've called Huntington, I've called everywhere, and I can get no results from anybody.
Okay, thank you so much, and that will be made part of the record. And Mr. Roberts, if he hadn't signed in, get him to sign in. And anybody else up here that needs to make a statement? Magistrate Johnson. Take his finger.
Where they got their house, it's some, when you're talking about mountain, is like somewhere up in a holler. What distance will they go to put in a line, you know, because they turned some of them down or want a whole lot more money putting in the line. Well, I've had a few on that, and number one that the county had with was up at the Dorton Community Center when we was trying to get a TV up there and everything. And we tried and never couldn't, so they finally come with a figure of so much, and I believe Stacy told me the last figure they come, you all wanted $5,000 to run a line to. And then what it was, Stacy? $5,000 to $6,000, and this is a community thing, and everybody in Dorton areas, in Shelby Creek area, comes to this. So a lot of people up there, it's got these TVs y'all got, but we've got a satellite up there now, and a lot of them don't know how to work that thing, and so it's a hurt what you all put on us up there for wanting $5,000 for a line to run to that, and it's watched every day and every night. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Magistrate Johnson. Mr. County Attorney, do you have anything?
No, Judge.
Nobody has anything. I'll adjourn this hearing, and we look forward with our meetings with these two that hold the franchise, and we look forward, hopefully, to improve our quality of life to our television for the next 10 years. Thank you all, and God bless.